episode 6, The Bishop's Gambit. So when we last left the legends, they had moved in with Constantine. Astra, had taken them to a magical place full of wonder and mystery, turned them into the cast of Beauty and the Beast, and everybody got turned back to normal. Now they're still all living at John's house. So John's trying to adjust now with having everybody living at his house. Like people touching his stuff, and then, like Ava's trying to connect Gideon, and then Spooner booby trapped the whole house, and then he can't take it, and then he and Zari leave because he just has to clear his mind. So while, after they get Gideon hooked up, they find out that, well, Gideon still has the ability to look through time. So she's like, oh, back in 1953 or something like that, she was like, a woman checked into a mental facility whose name was Sara Lance. So, so now they're just like, okay, so Sara was apparently spotted somewhere like in the 1950s. So, Ava, Spooner, and Nick, I guess they use like the time couriers. I don't know how they travel. It has to be the couriers. They end up using the couriers, and they go investigate this whole Sara situation. Mick, both he and Gary's ex-wife, they end up arriving on the planet that Sara's on. They get off and they're just like, all right, they load up on weaponry, and then just like Mick's like, so we're gonna go down there, we're gonna go find Sara, and then she's like, yeah, we're also gonna find the ship. So when the two of them go looking for Sara, they end up seeing the Ava clones, but Mick doesn't know they're the clones yet. So Mick only saw one, and he was just like, well, it's just one of them, so let's just go down there. So Mick goes down there. The girl doesn't go with him. She lets Mick go dolo. Mick runs up on the Ava clone, but he doesn't know it's the clone because she's wearing the helmet. He puts the flamethrower on her, and then other two Ava clones come out of nowhere, and then he's shocked at first because he's like, Ava, and then when he sees the other one, he's just like, you're clones. And then the clones jump him, they beat him up, and they knock him out. So after that, Gary's ex-wife, she's like, well, he got himself captured, so she said, let me go find my ship so I can get the hell up out of here. All of a sudden, the Wave Rider ends up taking for liftoff, and then the Wave Rider leaves the planet. So then, after that, like Gary's ex-wife, she was just like, well, shit, that was my idea. She was like, I was going to take the Wave Rider. And then we didn't find out who took the Wave Rider. Come to find out, the person who took the Wave Rider is the same person who crashed in the 1950s who claimed to be Sara Lance. And it was the Amelia Earhart alien. So even again, they find the Amelia Earhart alien, they bring it back to John Constantine's house, and they're trying to interrogate it because they're just like, oh, like this person, like she has to know where Sara is because it's Amelia Earhart, so it's like she had to be trapped on a planet or she has to be an alien or something. Spooner's just like, yeah, there's something weird going on with her alien-wise, but I don't know what it is yet. So Spooner and Bayrod, they go in there and try to talk to her, and then it's not really working, and then Amelia Earhart's just kind of like doing the whole like, oh, when I was on the flight, blah, 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 thing that she did before. Constantine comes home, and he's just like, bloody hell, it's like, is that Amelia Earhart in my house? And then they're just like, well, we think it's an alien. They were able to get the information of where Amelia Earhart landed. So she kept, coming up with like, she was like, oh, I landed in front of like my daddy's house, back then. So they're just like, all right, fine. So they go to her dad's house to find out what the situation is. And when they get there, they find the Wave Rider. So now that they have the Wave Rider, Ava goes back to her and she's like, you had the Wave Rider, which means you know where Mick is, which means you know where Sara is. And then she was like, tell us where Sara is, tell us where Mick is. And then after that, Amelia Earhart started wigging out, and then she turned into an alien. After she went full-blown alien on them, they ended up knocking her out. And then they actually dragged her to the Wave Rider because they said, listen, we need to get into her mind and we need to get into her psyche. If we can pull her memories, we can find out where Sara is through her memories. So they bring her back to the Wave Rider. They reconnect Gideon to the Wave Rider. They still don't know what happened to Mick. And they're just like, well, John, we need a spell, that can get into this alien's mind so we can find out, where Sara is. And then John's like, well, love, it's a perfectly good time to use my apprentice, Astra. So they bring Astra in, because remember, John can't use his power because thanks to the spell in the last episode, he lost his magical mumbo jumbo. So he has to have Astra do it because Astra's actually been practicing more magic than he has. So, so Astra comes in, she ends up doing the spell, she connects the link to the alien. While she's linked to the alien, she sees certain memories of Amelia Earhart. The alien itself sees certain memories. And then she sees the memory of when the alien first saw Sara. And then she saw the moment where her and Sara were struggling and fighting. And then all of a sudden, like the connection got too strong. Astra got knocked out. And then the alien got knocked out. The alien actually ripped through the Amelia Earhart skin, went full-blown alien. And then they ended up running out of the room. They trapped the alien in the room. Then everybody left. So Astra was knocked out, John was with her, but then Spooner, she was just like, nah, because when the alien ripped through the Amelia Earhart skin, the alien called out to Spooner and Spooner heard her. So then Spooner was just like, nah, I ain't going out like that. So Spooner goes back into the room, and then she's just like, why can I hear you? And then Spooner starts talking the language, and Spooner's like, why can I talk the language? And then like Spooner and the alien had a full blown conversation in alien speak. So now Spooner's freaking out because she's just like, I shouldn't be able to understand, or speak to you like that. And then she was just like, what did you do with Sarah Lance? And then she was just like, you humans put up a good fight. Sarah did too when I killed her. And then, she was just like, oh, Amelia Earhart struggled for me to take over. And then she was just like, wait, so the two of you inhabited the same body? And then she was just like, yep. And she's like, I tried to do the same thing to Sarah, but Sarah, fought till the very end. And then, then the alien went and attacked Spooner. And then when the alien attacked Spooner, then Ava shot the alien, killed the alien. And then that's when Spooner had told Ava that, Sarah was dead. And then, Ava started crying. And that was all very sad. Sarah now, she's talking to this weird dude again. I don't remember the guy's name, but the guy was basically just like, oh, you'll never guess how, like I look so good and how I stay fresh. And she was like, you're a clone. And then she was like, you're a clone just like the Avas are. And he was like, I'm nothing like the Ava clones, because he said the difference is the Ava clones are just multiple clones. He said the difference with me is every time like I die, a new version of me gets pumped out again out of a machine with the same memories and everything. So he was like, I can just keep going and going and going. He tells Sarah that he was like, I want you to join me and I want you to be by my side and be my queen or whatever. And then, Sarah realizes in order to find out the information she needs in order to get what she wants from him, she has to play along. So she plays along. She ends up being friends with him. She's like, oh, let's just have dinner together, and then he's just like, great, like I'm glad you're finally on board. And he gets all giddy and he gets all excited. He finds out that Mick and the other chick there on the planet. So he ends up removing the oxygen barrier because where he was at, he had like a protective dome that allowed everybody to breathe as long as they stayed within that dome. But when he found out that Mick was on the planet, he removed the dome, so this way anybody outside of that dome would anybody who wasn't in the house would instantly die. So because the dome is down now and the atmosphere is coming in, now Mick was starting to die, the other alien was starting to die, but luckily Mick had brought an oxygen mask with him, and then both he and the alien used the oxygen mask. They found the power source, and they used the power source to bring back to her ship because they found her ship, and now they're going to use the power source to fix her ship so they can rescue Sarah and get out of there now that the Wave Rider's gone. But then like some other aliens on the planet started attacking, started coming after them, so they hid in a pod, and then while the two of them hid in a pod, they basically got it on and did the dirty deed. So back in the room, so Sarah's talking to the guy. She ends up putting on this nice dress. She goes to dinner, and then he was, just like, I'm really glad you're on board because your boy Mick is here, and I didn't want this to be an awkward situation where he would have interrupted, what we're doing. And then she was like, what do you mean Mick's here? He was just like, yeah, Mick showed up to save you, but don't worry. He said I removed the dome, so now he's just gonna die due to lack of oxygen. And then Sarah got mad, and then she beat him up, and she knocked the guy out, and then she dragged him across the floor because he said that he's very impervious to pain because he made his cloning process very pain resistant. So Sarah basically broke his arms, beat his ass, broke his jaw because she was like, hey, you can't feel the pain really, right? So because his whole thing was, he said that if she kills him, he said a new version of me will just pump out. So she didn't kill him, but she basically broke all of his limbs to the point where he couldn't walk. So she dragged him around the house, and then she found the room where the clone of him was being produced. So her whole thing was she's going to destroy the the whole cloning process, so this way when she finally does kill him, he can't reproduce. And then he was just like, oh, you're just like me, Sarah Lance, we're one of a kind. And then she was like, I'm nothing like you, because she said that I've been through wars, I've been through battles, I've been through life, but I don't hide from my scars, I embrace my scars. And then he was like, well, funny, he was like, I don't see any scars on your body at all. And then she started looking, and then she was just like, you know what, you got a point. And then she's like, what happened to my scars? She's like, what happened to my rings and everything? And then she saw a body on a table next to him that had her rings on it. So she walks over to the table, she pulls the sheet back, and then the guy was just like, oh, he said, there go the scars of the body of the real Sara Lance. And then you saw Sarah's dead body on the table. So the alien that was talking to Spooner was right. He did kill her, because it looks like the poison that Sarah got, because remember she got poisoned like 2 episodes back. It looks like the poison basically took its toll and it killed her. And that guy basically used like her DNA to create like Sarah clones. So the Sarah that we're looking at right now is basically a clone, and it's, it's something that her and Ava have in common now, I guess, but I don't know how I feel about having clone Sara like moving forward. I mean, but she's basically still Sara, you know, like the DNA because she still has all of her memories and everything. It's still basically Sara. It's almost like they just took her mind out of one body and just put it into another. But Sarah's kind of freaking out now because she just saw her dead body on the table, and that's pretty much how the episode ended. So this is gonna be interesting and weird, and you know, and we're probably not even gonna get the clone thing too much longer because I saw the coming attractions for the next episode, and in the next episode, the Legends come up with an idea to go back in time and save Sara before she gets sucked up in, you know, by the aliens. And I'm just sitting here kind of like, yeah, should have been did that. Like going back in time to stop Sara before the aliens abduct her should have been the very first thing that came out of someone's mouth. And I have no idea why nobody did that before. Because this whole thing about like, oh, we can't travel to places where we've already been, we threw that book out the window a long time ago. So we'll see what happens then. And I guess, you know, because I guess what they're gonna do is they're gonna reset the timeline so the whole cloning thing doesn't exist. Which is like I said, I don't know how I feel about the clone thing. It's like I'm interested to see where a clone Sara could go, but if they reset it to the point where she never became a clone, I wouldn't be mad at that either, because I just kind of want her to get off the alien planet because I don't know what's happening with her, and I don't know what's happening with this guy, with this clone guy who's trying to like build a better future. I don't know who he is. I don't know what his actual plan is, and it's just kind of very confusing at this point. But hopefully next week when they go back in time to try to save her before she gets abducted, that'll fill in the pieces, and then we can start putting the pieces together. I don't know how long Mick's gonna stay on the show. gonna stay on the show, because, but he is. But Mick's the only person. Mick and Sara are still on the planet right now, and the Legends, as of this point, they think Sara's dead, and them thinking that Sara's dead is what's going to make them go back in time to try to save her anyway. So, as I said, it's all very cool. And then there's the whole John Constantine Asher thing, because John is lying to Zari about the fact that he lost his power. So, like I said, it's just one big mess. It's just one big mess. But that's what Legends is. It's a glorious mess, and we're all here for it. So, thank you for tuning in, guys. So, check me out on Twitter. Check me out on Instagram. Check me out on YouTube as well. Leave a comment about what you think is going on with Legends of Tomorrow. We're only 6 episodes in, so, you know. But like I said, but the whole thing with Legends is you don't expect clarity. You don't expect continuity. Like, you expect Legends to be a train wreck. And when you finally get to the season finale, it's all, like, you love it, and it's all great, and it's all fun. So that was it, guys. So check out my other videos. You know, I got Loki out. I got the Batwoman episode that John Diggle popped up on. You know, we're still going over Superman and Lois, and we've got The Flash as well. So thanks for tuning in. So until next time, the Legends of Tomorrow, until we wrap all this craziness about this bitch.